the brave little hedgehog. And now, attention. A riddle. I'm a hedgehog, round and small. In winter, what do I do with it all? I don't fly south like a bird in the sky. Instead, I curl up and let time go by. What am I doing? Maybe dancing, or hibernating, or swimming. You will find out the correct answer at the end of the story. In a lush green forest, where sunbeams danced through the leaves and wildflowers dotted the ground, there lived a tiny hedgehog named Pip. Pip was the smallest hedgehog anyone had ever seen, with soft brown quills and bright, curious eyes. Pip loved exploring the forest, rolling in the soft moss, and helping his fellow creatures. But there was one thing that made Pip's heart race with fear: the clearing by the old oak tree. That's where the bigger animals gathered, and some of them weren't very nice. One sunny morning, Pip's friend Molly the mouse came rushing to him, her tiny paws trembling. "Oh, Pip," she squeaked. "I dropped my favorite acorn in the clearing, but I'm too scared to get it. The mean raccoon twins are there again." Pip's quills quivered at the thought of facing the raccoon twins, Rex and Roxy. They were known for pushing smaller animals around and taking their food. But seeing the sadness in Molly's eyes, Pip took a deep breath and said, "Don't worry, Molly. I'll get your acorn back for you." With wobbly legs but a determined heart, Pip made his way to the clearing. As he approached, he could hear the raccoons' loud laughter. There they were, tossing Molly's acorn back and forth between them. "Hey," Pip called out, his voice barely louder than a whisper. "That acorn belongs to my friend Molly. Please give it back." Rex and Roxy turned to look at Pip, their eyes narrowing. Well, sneered Rex. "If it isn't the little pincushion, what are you going to do about it, Tiny?" Pip's heart was pounding, but he stood his ground. "It's not right to take things that don't belong to you," he said, a little louder this time. "How would you feel if someone took something important from you?" The raccoons looked at each other and laughed. "Aw, is the little hedge baby giving us a lesson?" Roxy mocked. She bounced the acorn on her paw. "If you want it, come and get it." Pip knew he couldn't outrun or overpower the raccoons. But then he remembered something his grandmother had told him: true strength comes from kindness and understanding, not from size or muscle. Taking another deep breath, Pip spoke again, this time with more confidence. "I know you think it's fun to pick on smaller animals, but it really hurts our feelings. Don't you have any friends to play with? Wouldn't that be more fun than making others feel bad?" The raccoon's smug expressions faltered for a moment. Rex shuffled his feet, looking uncomfortable. We don't really have many friends," he admitted quietly. "Yeah," added Roxy, her voice softer now. "The other animals usually run away when they see us coming." Pip felt a twinge of sympathy. "Maybe that's because they're scared of how you treat them," he suggested gently. "If you were kinder, I bet lots of animals would want to be your friends." The raccoons looked at each other, then back at Pip. "But how do we start?" Rex asked, sounding genuinely curious. Pip smiled, feeling braver by the second. "Well, giving back Molly's acorn would be a good start, and maybe you could apologize to her too." To Pip's surprise, Roxy walked over and gently placed the acorn in front of him. "We're sorry," she said. "We didn't realize we were hurting anyone's feelings." Just then, other animals who had been watching from the edge of the clearing started to come closer. They had heard everything and were amazed at Pip's bravery and kindness. Molly scampered up to Pip, her eyes wide with admiration. "Oh, Pip, you did it! You got my acorn back." Pip smiled at his friend, then looked back at the raccoons. Hey, would you like to join us for a game of hide and seek? Everyone's welcome to play. Rex and Roxy's faces lit up with genuine smiles. Really? You'd let us play with you? Rex asked incredulously. Of course, Pip replied. As long as you promise to be kind and follow the rules, just like everyone else. And so, that afternoon, the clearing by the old oak tree was filled with the joyful sounds of animals playing together. Pip watched as Rex and Roxy made new friends, their laughter mixing with the others. As the sun began to set, casting a warm golden glow over the forest, the animals gathered around Pip. "You were so brave," said Ollie the owl. "How did you stand up to those bullies?" Pip thought for a moment. "I was scared," he admitted, "but I realized that bullies are often just lonely or sad themselves. Sometimes, all it takes is a little kindness and understanding to change things." From that day on, the forest became a happier place. Rex and Roxy learned to be kind and make real friends. And little Pip, the smallest hedgehog in the forest, was known as the bravest of them all, not because of his size, but because of the size of his heart. As Pip curled up in his cozy burrow that night, he smiled to himself. He had learned an important lesson: standing up to bullies doesn't always mean fighting. Sometimes, it means having the courage to be kind, even when others are not. And that kind of bravery can change the world, one small act at a time. The end. And now the correct answer to the riddle. The correct answer is hibernating. Hedgehogs are small, spiky animals that have a special way of dealing with cold winter weather. Instead of flying south like birds or staying active like some other animals, hedgehogs hibernate. Hibernation is like taking a very long nap through the winter. Here's what happens. When it gets cold outside, hedgehogs find a cozy, safe spot to sleep. They curl up into a tight ball, with their spines pointing outward for protection. Their body slows down a lot, their heartbeat gets slower, and they breathe less often. They sleep deeply for weeks or even months until spring comes. Fun fact: during hibernation, a hedgehog's body temperature can drop from about 35°C 95°C to as low as 4°C 39°C. That's almost as cold as a refrigerator.